Right, Kiwis. Don't usually talk about you because you're in the middle of nowhere. So if there's any of you up currently watching, I mean, salute. And occasionally we check on the analytics and we see that there's Australians and New Zealanders watching. And it's like,
Cool,
oh,
very
damn. I love the Anglosphere. Solidarity, if nothing else. But as you can see on screen here, we have an average New Zealand male and an average New Zealand female. And they're a bit miffed because, well, they had that horse in charge, which, wasn't the same as them. It was a big flip-flop. And they've decided to get rid of that, and they've put a mobster in charge, along with the Conservative Party, the National Party, and the other guys. And what they've decided to do is they need to make the best possible habitat for this boy and girl to grow up in. And so I was caught by a story, because usually I don't pay attention to New Zealand, because, very far away and all the rest of it. It was this, Russia Today, India, of all places. Now, Russia Today is banned in the UK because of the war, so this is strange that shows up, but the story here, as they put it, no new Indians. New Zealand changes visa rules immediately. It's like Drutka is posting. With a record,
it really is.
With a record 173,000 non-New Zealanders arriving in 2023 alone,
Jesus.
with a reported 35% being from India alone,
Oh.
the government has shut the door.
Just to stop on that, New Zealand's got like 4.6 million people in it. So proportionally, 170,000 is huge. I mean, we got 1.4 million, but we've got 70 million people. Hi folks, sorry to interrupt the video, but I just want to direct your attention to the aesthetics range of merch that we have on the store. These are beautiful images that I think work really well as posters or mugs. So if you want to support us, going over to the merch store at shop.lotus.com is easily the best way other than signing up on the website.
Immigration Minister Erica Stanford said changes to the accredited employer worker visa scheme ensures that locals are put at the front of the job race with only highly skilled migrants needed, especially secondary school teachers. She says as of April 7th, minimum English language requirements have now been increased. So to minimum skill and work experience, lower skilled jobs must be filled by locals first, and visas are cut from 5 to 3 years. Basically, a massive crackdown on who can come here, how long they can stay, but also no Indians.
Is it though? Is it massive crackdown? I can't imagine all of those were work visas, right? 173,000. That's a lot of jobs.
So there's
no, undoubtedly, but at least this is a step in the right direction, right?
I'm not familiar, of course, with New Zealand's details of visas, but I imagine it's somewhat similar to ours, where let's say, I don't know, the man of the house has the work visa there. He's then able to bring his dependents, and
Right.
snowball grows.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, 35% of that number is 60K. So 60K in that year with just Indian. Now, if you do a little bit of math on this, because I looked up Indian New Zealanders, so as you can see here, they're a little bit different to the average male and female I showed you before. Scurrying around in the undergrowth, as Kiwis do.
Yeah.
Whereas the Indians here were living in the 60s. Now,
very good.
So there are 239,000 Indians in New Zealand. So that 60K increase is 25% bump in a single year.
God.
Massive growth. Massive growth. So, and that 173,000 people, that's 3% of New Zealand's population in a single year.
Whoa. What's spurring that?
Well, mass immigration.
I mean, but why India in particular?
I think the reason that there are Indians everywhere but India these days is because Indians hate India. It seems to be the one place on earth they don't want to live in.
Also, English language heritage.
Right.
No?
I think it's forgivable to believe this because we live in the Anglosphere, so we see it in New Zealand, Canada, the United States, and the United Kingdom. But if you check a global map, I was trying to load it up, but the map is animated and now doesn't work for some reason. I think Java. If you click on India, you can show where all the Indians go all over the world, and a lot of the big places are not English language places. Saudi Arabia, for example, it's just wherever you can get out. Seems to be the case. Someone's got the stats on that. Go and find it in the comments. There we are. It's a worldwide problem, the number of Indians, because there's billions of them. I think 1.5 billion now.
Yeah.
And that's growing. It's not like China where it's hit its peak and it's now going down. There's just loads of them. And that's, lovely for the Indians. But
is it though?
There's very few Anglos. Like, I think 1% of the earth is Anglos?
Wow. For now anyway.
So, I mean, as you saw earlier, that species, as you can see,
I think it's like 100 million in total.
Like, but as you can see, these are endangered. We must take care of them. We must make sure they have a natural habitat. And it seems that the government of New Zealand agrees. Right, just to mention here, you think we might need more Indians for food. Local Indian in New Zealand says no. which I thought was funny.
Uh-huh.
So I thought I'd just bring this up.
No, we have an Indian restaurant. Thank you. We don't need a second.
It's great.
Yes.
First generation immigrants are always the first to say we don't need any more immigration.
Yeah.
This is Miss Patel here,
Based.
different one. She says we don't need another Indian restaurant, and her
My Indian restaurant is enough.
it's not even hers.
I don't know. I was just joking.
Her complaint is actually quite funny, but weirdly true. I just never thought about it. She says, "I love Indian restaurants in India."
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Well,
That's exactly my position.
no, that's the last place I'd go to an Indian restaurant, to be honest with you.
Well, that's also true, but
So she says, here in New Zealand, I hardly ever eat Indian food outside of my own home because no matter how many different Indian restaurants I go to, it feels like I'm eating the same food every single time.
Right.
The menu never changes and everything almost tastes the same. The menus have been photocopied, more than 20 similar dishes, but they're all the same ones. Butter chicken, mango chicken, madras chicken, lamb sagwala.
Bit of jalfrezi.
I didn't even consider this, but that's so true, isn't it? Like you go to a Chinese in Russia and they have the same dishes they have in the UK.
yeah, but you go to China and they don't eat that food at all.
Well, they
Yeah.
eat everything in China, so.
Well, but except for an English Chinese,
Yeah.
which is what they don't eat for some reason. Okay.
It's so true. I remember I had a Chinese lady living opposite in uni, and we took her to an English Chinese for the first time. She was like, "Ugh,
Oh,
this is weird."
yeah, it's all
Like,
sugar
Yes.
and
Anyway,
MSG.
here's some chicken's feet. I'm sure you'll love that.
No seed
Oh.
oils in these.
To
Yeah.
be fair, I had a chicken soup in Jamaica once. I thought, oh, this is going to be great. They put it down in front of me. The feet rose to the top. I'm like,
can't eat
what
them.
do you do in this circumstance? Like,
Look, I can eat a lot of things, but I don't want to eat.
no.
Just leave the toenails. That's
Oh,
anyway. So her complaint is actually that one, which is that she's like, well, I like Indian food, but India has the food. If we open, if we invite 100,000 Indians, they open 100,000 new Indian restaurants each. It'll be the same dishes.
Hmm.
Once you've got a set amount of dishes, this doesn't work. So it's kind of funny that in New Zealand, it seems to be an Indian position that you don't need more. But anyway, there's one fella who agrees. Because I don't know about New Zealand politics. Probably about 10 people on Earth do. And so someone posted this set of clips, which is this chap. This is Shane Jones. And he has some things to say about India.
Look who is out and about,
Oh, it's not
wooing a
working, the audio.
business crowd. in
Well,
Auckland
apparently the
tonight.
audience can hear
The
it.
government's
It's fine.
become conceited. It's got an unhinged immigration policy.
Oh,
International
Hey.
education is now
Ah, there we
synonymous with butter chicken, rancid. But I say
Butter
to you,
chicken?
what sort of country do you want? We were originally settled through the Treaty of Waitangi, the indigenous people coming with their Pacific roots, the Maori people, then the Anglos came, and in my case, the Croatians came. If you want another 1 million, 2 million, 3 million people, then we should debate it, and there should be a mandate rather than opening up the options unfettered and everyone comes here from New Delhi. I don't like that idea at all.
You don't like the people coming from New Delhi?
Oh, no, I think that the number of students that have come from India have ruined many of those institutions. I think it's a backdoor to citizenship. You have no legitimate expectations, in my view, to bring your whole village to New Zealand. And if you don't like it and you're threatening to go home, catch the next flight home.
Look who
I mean,
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's a minister.
good for him.
He's a member of the
Yeah.
government.
who's the new Ardern?
I don't know. The guy in charge of the National Party, but he's not that interesting to me.
Okay.
I prefer this guy and his
Yeah.
party. Because they're the New Zealand First Party.
I see.
What's the woman in Australia, Paula something, who just sounds like Tommy Robinson?
Oh, Paula Hanson.
That's it. Yeah, I love that one.
Because that's
so great.
Because that's the thing, like proper
Yeah.
populists
Yeah,
in,
yeah, yeah.
in Australia and New Zealand
Yeah.
seem to be far more fun
Oh, yeah.
than the rest of the Anglosphere because they don't take any shit. They just say what they think.
Mm.
And this guy, I love that. Yeah. Oh, do I need more butter chicken? Rancid. it's like Kanye West. I can't say the name of the chicken, but it was an Indian chicken. So the end part where he's on radio and he says, "Well, if you can't, you're not going to be able to bring your whole village, and if you try, you should go home." He responded to a bunch of complaints about him saying that by saying that the response was a Bollywood reaction.
Double down.
And the best part is, these fellas, they won the election. So you've got the National Party who replaced Ardern, but it's a coalition. So you've got these liberals, and then you've got the New Zealand First guys, which is him and his leader, who are jolly good fun, if nothing else.
Chief Indian disrespecter of New Zealand.
And you might wonder, why has this guy got such a beef with Indian food by the sounds of it? Well, New Zealand's demographics, let's do a little bit of a little bit of research because I didn't know. So I want to check that out. So here you go. This is the ethnic data on Wikipedia. And they don't have our problem of lots of Pakistanis or Arabs or, the French. Instead, they have a unique circumstance where they've got Europeans that they list. And then that group has fallen from 80% to 70% in 20 years. So who's taken up the slack? And it's the Chinese and the Indians. That's basically it. They're the two groups that massively have grown. And
I know the Maori have done pretty well there, haven't they?
yeah, they have.
20 years, an extra 250,000 population.
But what-
Bloody good.
What's neat is you can also see the New Zealander and European group massively grows. They don't have the problem of the UK where the English are stagnant in terms of population.
The English are exporting themselves to get out of England. Yeah.
Yeah, New Zealand could continue to grow on its own population. It doesn't actually need more people. It's a desire to have it or not. But of course, the Indian and the Chinese groups growing massively. It is kind of funny that they're just well, the Indians or the Chinese? Which one? And they went with no Indians.
That's an age-old debate, though, isn't it? Indian or Chinese?
Oh, yeah, it is actually. At least for us.
Good Friday night debate, that.
But this is 3 years out of date, this ethnic data. Oh, no, it's even more than that. It's actually,
5 years.
almost 6 years.
6
out of
years
date.
now. Yeah.
So there's something to keep in mind, which is that 1 year, 2023, isn't included in this. And that's 60,000 extra Indians in that year alone. So that's the reason that they seem to have done this. And you can go and check out the net migration graphs, which aren't as bad as ours.
Of course they're not.
Oh.
How could you make them as bad as ours?
You could try.
Worst migration graphs in the world. Well, they're not as bad as ours. Oh, brilliant.
You can see here, net migration, for the 2000s, it's pretty low. And then, it goes up a bit here to 60,000 a year. And then there's some more stuff going on there. But I do like the news because it is seemingly the case that their government is serious. They've decided that they've looked at the European nightmare and gone, not that,
No,
not going down that path.
thank you.
So good. I mean, not only did they kick out the horse, they managed to do some good so far. And I'm excited. I don't know where this is going, but the New Zealand First Party I told you about. Because here's the polling. And as you can see here, when the election happened in 2023, they got 2.6% of the vote. And now they're on 6.5. So you can see a little bit.
Have they got proportional representation?
I'm not sure.
I'm guessing that they do. Because it's a progressive country, isn't it?
Most likely. I mean, you never really get that variety of parties otherwise.
How else would at 6% they'd be getting people in the government?
Yeah.
They got seats, and at which point they were needed to form a coalition government if they were going to do it. And so they're in, which...
See, this
fun.
this is why we're literally going to be stuck with the Blairite government forever. First past the bloody post.
Could you imagine Richard Tice coming out and be like, butter chicken, rancid? It's just not going to happen.
No, but Paul Golding would.
But let's go and check them out, shall we? For good fun. Because there's... I don't even need to play it, do I?
No, not really.
No, just look at it. Here's the leader. We've given him lightning eyes and put the flag on him. The point being, a lot of edits are being made. Let's have a listen, I guess.
Bring in half the refugees who are carrying HIV and all sorts of third world diseases. We can't help a New Zealander, but we can help every Tom, Dick and Harry, Much Doug and Ben Laden.
Well, this guy's getting kicked out of the Conservative Party, isn't he?
Yeah.
Deselected by reform.
We're not bringing in foreigners. They got HIV. Yeah. Yeah, you probably wouldn't want to bring in HIV foreigners. That sounds like a bad idea. So, yeah, he had to form his own party, and I'm interested, if nothing else. I went and checked out his tweets. There's nothing that exciting, but there is all the right stuff. So you are, Winston Peters, as I mentioned. I think he sort of looked a bit like a mob boss in a bunch of his photos, but not his profile there. I don't think it's a bad thing either. That's not an insult. I think that's kind of based.
Yeah.
So, here you go. This is someone who decided to drive all over the crosswalk, the LGBT crosswalk.
Oh,
and he's
yeah.
just like, well, that should be legal. Good. He's also mad here at segregation. So they've set up Maori and Pacific Islander only areas in universities. And he's just like, no, that's the whole point in our treaty, is that we're meant to be working together. But there we are. But that's New Zealand, which
So
just we're going to ban Indian immigration. Oh, are you?
the thing is,
okay.
I can't help but feel this goes back to the proportional representation debate, because I remember in 2011, everyone thought, oh, no, that feels kind of gay and European. That's not the way we do things. And it's like, okay, yeah, but look at what's happening. Like, even New Zealand's going right wing now because of proportional representation. And you can see that in the European Parliament, they're just like, that was a bad idea. Proportional representation seemed like such a good idea, but it turned out that actually the countries are full of Nazis. Yeah. So it's like, What now? And
How
we're
do we get
sta-
that referendum back? I suppose we'd need another coalition, wouldn't we?
It's not going to happen.
But I mean, it's possible we could have another coalition.
Yeah. But I don't think proportional representation is on anyone's minds. I don't think it's going to come onto the table.
You two were old enough for that referendum, I assume.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And the debate was it's gay and European.
That was the general consensus. Was that's just not the way we do things.
It's not. It's not very British, is it?
Yeah, no, and it's like, okay, yeah, that's fair, but look at the results they're getting.
Yeah.
Well, it's also just proportional representation is asking the public who should be in government,
Nobody.
and then you get an answer from the public.
Yeah.
Which every time it's been tried so far, I mean, as we just mentioned, there's no grassroots Antifa. That has to be your gay fanboys that you set up. But the grassroots, I don't want 500 random men turning up in my town. That is grassroots.
Yep.
Gets you interesting fellas such as these.
Turns out the average member of the public is really far right. So
Yeah.
proportional representation is a great idea.
But I'll end this off with getting back to the motherland, because of course we also have our yes, sir, I have your based right wing for you.
Oh,
Want to
God.
have a look?
Where is it?
Nowhere. It doesn't
Oh.
exist.
Ah,
Oh dear.
I quickly
This
mention.
man.
The purge has continued, of course, at Reform. So
so Hope Not Hate have written another strongly worded tweet,
Mhm.
and before anyone could respond, Richard Tice has gone no
yeah,
and leapt on it.
yeah,
Right.
he won't stop.
Just to be clear, there was one last week that was 3 hours. Took 3 hours and 2 minutes for Reform to come out and be like, yeah, we've got rid of that guy. And you know what? We're going to get rid of guys faster than Labour or the Tories will.
Mm.
Aren't we the puppets of Hope Not Hate? It's like, well, yeah, I guess you are.
So as you can see here, Voice of Wales put out this, and it was a message from an old friend of mine, Ian. Now, Ian, you may remember, in fact, 'cause
Yep.
we've met him many a time at the UKIP conferences. As an old comrade from back in the UKIP days, been with us for a long time doing his thing. And when Bo was deselected, he wrote a letter to head office being like, well, I agree with Bo. I'm also your candidate.
This is
Now what?
also your political party's platform that you're advertising to the public.
Yeah. So as for that, what happened is, for some reason, just magically at the same time, Hope Not Hate did a hit piece on him. And
Really?
as you can see, it's here. And the hit piece is that he is a human being with
I
a
remember
sense
that
of
chap.
humor.
Yeah.
As you can see there, his heinous crime includes wearing a colander on his head for his driving license because,
Pastafarian.
Sorry, did he get deselected for being funny?
seemingly so.
Just like Bo getting deselected for making a joke about the Scots.
Yeah. So Ian,
What is the investigation here?
so back in the day, there was a big ruckus about how women were going to wear niqabs for their driving license, but obviously you can't see their face.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. So the atheists of the world became Pastafarians and were like, this colander is my religious headgear. This has to be allowed. And as you can see, that's one of the things they're whining about,
Mock the system. Absolutely.
is that he's daring to mock inconsistencies in the law.
Well, humor is right wing, isn't it? So it can't be allowed.
Oh, correct. But why did Richard Tice respond to this?
Well, I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
Can we just go back to his? We will not tolerate inappropriate behaviour. What?
They will be removed
I mean,
fast and simple.
Can we click on Stan's tweet? Maybe there's some inappropriate behaviour in there.
So it's a statement from Ian
Right.
where he's just talking about the fact that this is bollocks.
But what was he deselected over?
So if you go to Hope Not Hate's website, I'm sure they have some more whining. I suppose we'll go to the Mirror and they'll
Yeah.
have the whining in detail.
Okay.
Again, they use the picture of the colander.
Right.
That's
okay.
his crime.
Yeah. Well, he liked Tommy Robinson and Nick Griffin tweets. Right. Okay.
What were the tweets?
Yeah.
Well, the tweets, I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm sure they're in here somewhere. Is them just pointing out that, well, if you get loads of Muslims into the country, they're all pro-Gaza, turns out. Big shock. I mean, this is actually the worry of most Jews in London at this point, because they were like, oh, I love immigration. And then, oh, what's going on? Specifically speaking of Bella Wallersteiner. I don't know if you're familiar with her.
Unfortunately, I am, yes.
She works for, I believe, the Conservative Party.
Yep.
Massively
Massive
pro-immigration.
liberal.
And then was walking down to the Israeli embassy for some reason and was like, what a minute. All these people don't like me. It's like,
Yeah.
it's almost as if it's written in the book. Who knows? Yeah. Anyway, so that's your base right-wing media, sir. Sorry, base right-wing party in England.
Alternative. Yeah.
Yeah, Tice put out a tweet saying something about they don't meet our standards. So I replied, do you have an objective list of your standards? Is there anywhere we can browse them? Should we go to the Hope Not
Yeah.
Hate
That's the
website?
thing, isn't it? There's no like actual. We will not tolerate inappropriate behaviour. What liking tweets is now inappropriate behaviour. Okay.
wearing
It's also
collars.
They will be
subjective.
removed fast and simple. Who are you afraid of, Richard? What you're afraid of is the Guardian and the Independent going, oh, reform, far right party. It's like, why do you think you're going up in the polls?
Please take me seriously. Please take me
Yeah.
seriously.
Could you imagine if the New Zealand First Party kicked out that guy for saying you can't bring your whole village? It just wouldn't be the same party. It wouldn't be worthwhile.
I just love the fact that under all of these tweets is me ratioing them. Sorry, what, Richard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Well, I'll end this off with something else, which is just to take a look at how pathetic this is, of course, because the communist organization is gloating here. They
Yeah.
put out this, which is just a
Yeah, yeah,
massive gloat
Yeah.
about how they control the party at this point.
In fact, can we watch this video? Because this video is just like the fact that they can make a video like this about reform goes to show you that reform are just not fit for purpose.
It's been a tough couple of weeks for Richard Tice's Reform UK.
Gloating. Look at the
Hope Not
gloating.
Hate have exposed 3 of his parliamentary candidates for extreme racism and far-right beliefs.
Just hang on,
Morale
hang on.
is low.
Exposed. What did you do? Well, we found things they put out on social media.
That we didn't like.
That's not exposing that. They put those things out on social media. They wanted them to be seen.
As party members squabble over Axe candidates, and Tice even told candidates that they have to pay for their own election leaflets.
Huh?
But that's the least of Tice's worries. It turns out that despite his claim that Reform UK would contest 632 parliamentary seats, the party has almost 200 vacancies, including in target areas like Barnsley North and Doncaster North.
That's because I imagine Hope Not Hate have put out 200 tweets or pieces about their bloody candidates.
Well, there's also the cascading effect.
Yes.
So, I mean, Ian sent me a message about the whole thing. He was like, well, I agree. So what should I do? I said, well, I don't know. It's up to you, man. So he wrote a letter to the HQ and they said, well, as a result of him sending that letter to them and having a colander on his head, he's been kicked out. So then when Bo was kicked from South Swindon, our North Swindon candidate was also kicked, you may remember. So now Swindon's just off the table. I got a message from the lady organising it. And again, if she's watching, I absolutely love you and everyone else who's on the ground level, which is the leadership, the causing the problems. And she was like, do you know anyone who has a squeaky clean social media who can run? Because that's now the requirement. And it's like, no, nobody. Like, have you seen the state of the country? It's most people can't keep their mouth shut about how bad the country's gotten.
Yeah.
And the idea that because someone dares to say something, the leadership team decide to kick everyone. This is not how you get the New Zealand First Party being in power and then just going, no more Indians. We've got too many. That can't happen here if this is the modus operandi, which is
Isn't that amazing? Like,
weird.
Hope Not Hate have managed to slice off a third of Reform's candidates by just posting about their Twitter accounts.
Well, I don't think it's that many directly, of course.
Sure, but no. Obviously, directly they only get 10 or 20 or whatever. But the cascading effect, as you say, that just end up sloughing off a bunch of people that Reform needed. And so, okay, Richard, you're destroying your own party now because, you're just not going to have the candidates for the election because Hope Not Hate wrote mean articles about you.
Yeah, and it won't end here.
No, of course it won't. And they're thrilled about this. This is what this whole thing is. There's a big gloat. Ha, ha, ha. We literally control Reform and we can destroy it at will. And Richard Tice has no spine and so will let us do this.
Well, I'd like to see one of the other parties like UKIP or Britain First just recruit the people that have been kicked out of Reform.
Yeah, I tell you what.
Just get all the sound people together.
Just honestly, again, I've said this before, but Jared Batten never deselected people, did he? He stepped through the fire and everything was going great.
He also had the same manly energy that the guy in charge of New
Yeah,
Zealand
exactly.
does.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's that. Good habitats are being created for the Kiwis. I'm sure they won't go extinct in the next few years, so that's good news.
Yeah, sorry, just a quick thing here. Look, Hope Not Hate will be there to vet them.
Ah,
Richard, they literally think they control who gets to run in your party.
they do.
Because they do.
Because they actually do, yeah.
If you appreciated that episode from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content that's on the site, such as the Brokenomics series, this episode on IQ. If you'd like to find out what else is being put out, you can follow on Twitter at lotuseaters_com on Twitter. Thank you and goodbye.